Hello, hello. Whoa, that was weird. Hi, good morning, welcome. Wow, I feel like I'm a little bit a little bit too bright. Welcome back. Welcome to another week. And yeah, if you're new here, thanks for joining. If you are one of the regulars, thanks for tuning in. Let me get my camera sorted out because well, let me explain what's going on. I got back from London. I'm back here. I think I'm adjusted to local time more or less. Did my normal strategy for daylight savings, jet lag, anti-jet lag, that's the word. And I think it worked. So I'm back. I'm here. It's morning in Portland and I'm awake. That's good. But let me get my camera sorted out here because this is a little bit awkward. Also, I just noticed that they shipped an update to the Lumix Tether app. Where's my super source layout? Oh, it's missing from my preview. There it is. They shipped an update to the Lumix GH1 app, and now it does this. Check this out. You can actually see multiple camera feeds on the screen at the same time, which is pretty cool. So I need to adjust this camera a bit. I think we're going to go down to 60. And where's the ISO? Oh, it's at auto. Drop it down a little bit. This is why I like these cameras, because I can just do this while the camera is sitting behind the teleprompter that I can't reach. Cool. Yeah, so the multi-view thing is new. It'll show you multiple pictures from each camera so you can actually see what's going on. Or you can switch it back into full screen mode for just one, but I kind of like it. Yeah, so that's cool. Woke up. I got here and opened Lumix Tether app and it was like, we've got updates available. You should install them. So that's super cool. That looks better. Now I'm not so overexposed. The Sven says jet lag is just extended daylight savings. Yeah, it was funny because I actually didn't get daylight savings time this year because I was in Portland when London switched. And then I flew to London, and then I was in London when Portland switched. So I flew back to a different time zone. So I just came back with a different number of hours to adjust to. But no, I didn't actually have to like change my clocks for daylight savings. It was funny. It happened to me in 2019 also, I think. Yeah, So that was fun. Oh, Graham says, are you going to start adding pins on the map to show where you are each week? That's a good idea. I kind of like that idea. That'd be fun to like, I'll put my pin with my face on it where I am. Although now I've got like, that was probably my last trip of the year. So I'm not going to be doing too much more travel this year. Hopefully, because I kind of want to like spend some time in here to get things cleaned up. You can tell from this shot, it's a little bit messy in here, and it's even worse over on the other side. We're not going to look over there, and mostly because I'm still, I was in the middle of assembling the shelves that are behind that wall, and then I had to leave for the trip, so I didn't finish. So I got to fill those up with all the stuff. Then I can finish rearranging in here. I am looking forward to doing that. Okay, let me see. Anybody else say anything in the chat? Oh. MT was cueing us with the music notes. Very good. Eric says best episode thumbnail ever. I did not make that artwork. I shamelessly stole it from Twitter. I think that's where I found it. But yeah, I enjoyed that thumbnail. IT never gets old says, I wonder if Aaron is scrambling to get things going after the trip. That is in fact what was happening. I packed a bunch of stuff at home, came over here this morning, and got here at when I normally do, which is like around 9, so like an hour before. And I had actually turned everything off in here for the week because I was gone for a whole week, and I was like, there's no point. I know I'm not going to have time to even use the studio remotely. So I just shut everything down. I powered down the rack, powered all the cameras down. So getting things set up this morning took longer than normal because everything had to get booted back up right, and I had to go around, turn all the cameras on, and make sure the lights were all connected and all that kind of stuff. It was mostly seamless. I think there weren't really any like major issues. I did have to like find the button for the computer, which is buried inside the rack, so I should probably fix that because the Mac did not turn on automatically when the power came on, but everything else did. And then I did, in fact, remember to save a snapshot of the ATEM before I left, because the media pool does not persist on the Constellation line, which is real oversight in my opinion. So the media pool, I was just able to restore from the XML file, so it wasn't like a big deal, but you do have to remember to take a snapshot before you power it down. Yeah. Okay. If you are new here, welcome. And reminder, if you have a question for me, please put the letter Q in front of it, and that'll filter it onto my screen so I can see it a little bit better here. Speaking of which, Bailey says, any news regarding the Constellation 4 MEs? I have seen boxes of them shipping from people who've posted them places like Facebook. I have not heard about my order yet, so I don't know when I will be getting mine, but it seems like soon. It seems like the answer is very soon. I've not heard from DVE Store yet, but as soon as I do, I will send them back there to ME that I'm running this show with, and then I will be getting the 4ME. So I'm gonna have to give them a big old credit card payment for that, and then I will, yeah, hopefully soon. But oh, you know what else did ship, which I was also scrambling to set up at the last second, is the Bird Dog Play. So that is, it came in this box, which is way smaller than I thought it was going to be. Like, the box is tiny, and the Bird Dog Play is also tiny. It is attached to a bunch of wires. There we go. I thought we could maybe play with this a little bit today, and it is smaller than I thought. It's also extremely light. It feels like there's nothing in there, so I don't really know what kind of thing is in there, but it's very small. It's just as big as the 3 ports. You can kind of see the HDMI power, USB power, and Ethernet. So I just powered it on. I have not played with it yet, and maybe we can see how it works. Frankie says, I'm sure the media stays on my Constellation 2ME. Well, if it does for you, that is interesting. But no, everybody else who I've talked to, and mine does not save the media pool on boot, on power cycle. Chris says the web interface is simple but effective. Oh, cool. I have literally not even looked at it yet. I literally just plugged it in right before the countdown was over. Emerald Audiovisual says, Bird Dog Play looks like Apple TV size, or is it smaller? It is, in fact, smaller than the Apple TV. I don't have, the Apple TV is buried, so I can't get to it, but it's about, I would say the Apple TV is about that big. So an extra, I don't know, 1.5 centimeters or so. That's my rough estimate. But yeah, it's tiny. It's super tiny. Yeah, everybody is confirming. Did everybody order one? Is that what's happening? I ordered it so long ago because I was just curious, like, if it really is as simple and straightforward as I'm hoping it is. We're going to find out in a second. It's going to be the cheapest way to get an NDI feed into HDMI. So that was the reason I was curious to check it out. Yeah. So we've got some stuff to talk about this week. Let me first though, where did it go? I just noticed that, oh, that's out of stock. Where's one that's in stock? Looks like, there we go. It looks like the DVE store is actually doing a massive sale on the PK1 stands, which is great. This is supposed to be their Black Friday sale. I'm gonna drop a link to this in the chat. So if you have not yet bought one of these, this is a fantastic time because yeah, that's a great deal. So that is the extreme version. It looks like they're out of stock of the one for the ATEM Mini right now. But you can browse through, just search for PK1 stand, and you should find the different products here. Yeah, that's a great sale that they are doing. So this is your chance to grab one from DVE store. We are not, that was something that they're doing on their own. So we're not like doing that discount on the rest of the stores. So if you're outside of the US, apologies, but if you're in the US, then definitely go get one from DVE store. So, and also again, thanks to them for loaning me this 2ME. And yeah, go support them. They are a great store. Chris says, I got mine from DVE this week and started playing immediately. Works pretty decent. Great. Yeah, mine came when I was gone, so I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. I bet a bunch of people forgot they ordered to play when they'll receive theirs. Yeah, totally. Rick just bought one of the stands on sale. Thank you. Appreciate it. Sven says, always wanted to ask, do you match on Q, Q colon, Q, and or Q colon? Apparently Q colon works because that showed up here in my list. I don't remember exactly what I'm matching for. I think it's just any letter Q. I don't know. I don't remember. Bailey says, I think Blackmagic's thinking is it won't be turned on and off very frequently, so media pool restoration isn't as important. But yeah, since they put it in the extreme, I feel like if you're going to be making something that's even more expensive with more space inside of it, just put the little memory chip in it. It's not like it's that expensive. Yeah. Oh, and Carl, thank you for pointing out the DVE store Black Friday deals on the PK1 stands as well. Yes. Cool. So, oh, somebody asked about how MTS, the lowercase letter, does work. Great. Now we know. Somebody asked about what cameras I'm using. Eric says, looks good on the main cam. Excellent. This is the BGH1 camera behind the teleprompter there, as is my overhead camera now too. And that is, yes, Chris, these are the new box cameras. So that's the BGH1. The overhead is the BGH1, and so is the one over there. Those are the only ones I've got plugged in right now because I'm still, again, everything is a mess, and I haven't had a chance to properly set up the studio again. I think I'm going to rearrange things and move this table around. You can see this table behind me is not normally there because I actually was using it for shooting a House Files episode, which we are going to start publishing them more regularly, so tune in for that if you are curious about construction updates. Things are moving along now quite quickly, so we got a lot of stuff to report on. The channel is linked below if you're curious. Okay, so let's talk about Twitter. Oh, I have to sign in because my show notes are in Notion, and apparently I got signed out of Notion. It's annoying. It always does this. I disagree with their strategy about how long you should stay logged in. So if you are on Twitter, then you will probably know that this week things kind of became a bit chaotic there. So let's talk a little about what happened. I actually don't want to spend too much time talking about the whole what happened or why Elon bought it. That's not as relevant to me. What is more interesting, I think, is what you can do proactively to make it so that it is not as impactful on you personally. One of the big things that happened that a lot of people were talking about is the whole verified checkmark situation. And regardless of the reasons for why they wanted to change the way checkmarks worked, the way they did it was pretty horrible and will cause actual problems. And at the very least, being able to pay $8 for a checkmark means that scammers absolutely will take advantage of it and already have been. And it's not even a question because they can make more than $8 back from pulling off a scam. So it is worth the investment. they do this already and spend a lot more money on things that are the same idea. So anytime that you are like, yeah, it's like you can't do this kind of thing and expect scammers to not take advantage of it. So that was a big mistake already. I am absolutely not going to pay anything to Twitter. I have no interest in paying them for anything. I was not even interested in Twitter Blue before it was Elon's Twitter Blue. I do have a verified checkmark on Twitter because I did apply for it ages ago when the threshold was a lot more open than it is now, and they gave it to me. Cool, thanks. And I got it, so it's still on my account. I don't know when it's going to disappear. I'm assuming it'll disappear at some time, because I'm not going to pay for Twitter Blue. But in the meantime, all the Twitter Blue accounts now are getting check marks too, which is just a disaster. So, frankly, like Twitter, it's not a question. It is going to fail at some point. A lot of sites do. There is no. It is rare that something like that will last indefinitely. And here I've got a link to citations for this. This webpage, Site Deaths, documents all sorts of social networking adjacent websites that have shut down over the years. And the list is extensive. It goes on and on and on. And some of these were large names that nobody would have thought would ever shut down, and did eventually. So it goes on and on and on. Like 2016, there's a lot. 2015, there's a lot. A lot of these are Yahoo or Google properties because they can't keep things online for much at all. So it goes on and on and on, just to give you an idea. And you can scroll through this list, look for things that you maybe remember. Yeah, that's a long list. So it's just a matter of time. I'm pointing this out because there isn't a scenario where Twitter stays around forever. So what can you do to, take advantage of the fact that it is here now and try to make it so that when it does eventually shut down or become undesirable for whatever reason, you aren't totally out of luck everywhere. Let me look at the chat here really quick. They suspended the world checkmark rollout again for now. Ben says that as well. They've been going back and forth on it. I was in London when this was happening, and meaning I was on the 8-hour time difference. So I would like wake up to a whole day had happened and try to catch up on the news. And it was flip-flopping back and forth so fast that it was almost impossible. There are some good actual accounts of the actual timelines of things now, which is good. But I'm not going to recap that because that's it. You can just go read about it online if you want. Sven says, seeing your involvement with OAuth and Twitter is a big part in the development of OAuth. Is this whole situation painful for you? Kind of. It does hit close to home. Twitter was one of the early pioneers of OAuth, and they were a big part of developing OAuth 1. They kind of ignored it until extremely recently when they started finally rolling out OAuth 2 support. I have no idea what the status is of that now because I don't know how many of the people who are working on that part of the API got laid off. I assume some of them did. We'll see soon. But yeah, I think more relevant to me what is the whole idea that eventually the site will go away and take all the data with it. So Jim says, controversial opinion. I love Twitter and will miss it if it implodes. There are a lot of good things about it. There are obviously a lot of bad things about it too, and there have been a lot of bad things about it for a long time. But yeah, it did do something that no other site did, which is great, and it provides an interesting opportunity to talk to people that you wouldn't have been able to talk to otherwise. The oh, James says, yeah, glad you're going to talk about Twitter since you are an IndieWeb pioneer. Thank you. Yeah. Nil says, deleted my Twitter account 10 years ago and never had any regrets about it. That's also totally fine. Okay. So a couple of the things that are, I think, notable about Twitter's fall right now is advertisers are already pulling out. They are already canceling ads and stopping ad spend on it because they don't want to support whatever it has become. And I actually noticed it's like extremely noticeable if you go onto Twitter right now and look at the home timeline. I tweeted this out yesterday. The suggested tweets I get and the ads on Twitter are significantly worse than they were last week. And that's because there's just less content there that Twitter can put in front of me. And it is very noticeable. It is very noticeable that it is different now. And that's just going to keep going. So and one of the other things that I thought was really interesting was I should have had the link up for this. Let me see if I can find it. And NPR is what I'm looking for. No. Yeah. Okay. I found it. Good thing. Good thing I have all of the things I've favorited on my own website so I can find them and search them. This tweet, I thought was really interesting. Internal guidance from NPR: don't advertise your handle on the air, but also don't delete it because someone could take it and impersonate you, which is like a pretty big deal that NPR would put out that guidance internally. And it's not a good sign for Twitter because they obviously rely on people using them as the canonical version of where to find you online. So things are in flux, and it's going to take a lot to recover from that. Rick says, I don't see Twitter melting down as much as it's in transition from a very different vision to something that hopefully will be a place everyone can enjoy. I think that's extremely optimistic. Ben says, I also don't think it's melting down. Advertisers pull out due to risk. Yeah. Not because they don't want to support. Sure. That's my point, is that they're pulling out because they see a higher risk now on the platform and don't want to risk their brand association with whatever's happening there. And unless they can recover from that, that is the income that Twitter gets, and they cannot make it up with memberships because the advertising money is too big, and it will eventually just implode. So it's not on a good path, and it's going to take a lot to recover from that. So, okay, that's just to set the stage for the more productive version of what I wanted to actually talk about, because there are a lot of interesting things happening and have been for a very long time. And there's a lot you can do to just make it not matter if Twitter goes away. And that's really what I wanted to focus on. But in case anybody's watching this months later or a year later, I wanted to at least get the context for where we are in the Twitter saga right now. So, Mastodon. You've probably heard this mentioned at some point because a lot of people seem to be leaving Twitter for it. And it is not new. It's actually been around for quite a while. And the interesting thing is it seems like it's finally reached the point that it can act as somewhat of a replacement for Twitter. It's obviously not going to work the same way. It's not a centralized platform like Twitter is. It has some, interesting quirks about signing up and all that kind of thing, but it is usable. It's definitely usable. What's also interesting is that Mastodon is not just one product. It uses open standards to talk between all the different instances, and that means you can actually talk to people on Mastodon using other software, which is exactly what I have done. So I have no interest in signing up for a Mastodon account, and I certainly don't want to have my online identity tied to somebody else's server that they're running that I don't know how long they're going to keep it up. But it would be nice if I could talk to people on Mastodon, right? And that's kind of the whole goal with the system, is that you shouldn't be locked into one particular product, whether that is a service like Twitter or a open source social network either. And that is exactly what you can do right now. There are actually a lot of different ways to do that. So everyone is, jumping ship and trying to figure out what Mastodon instance to join, but there's more ways to get involved over there. There's more ways than just finding somebody else's Mastodon server and joining it. That's also why I have zero interest in running a Mastodon server for myself, much less for a community, because I don't want the responsibility of owning people's online accounts. That's not something I would care to do. So the way Mastodon works is anybody can run a server. You just download the software, spin it up on a server anywhere. Cloud, you could run one on a home server if you wanted to. You could run it on a physical server in the data center or whatever. Like you can spin up these servers, pick a domain name for it, mastodon.social, mastodon.cloud, whatever, like social. Your company name, or there's all sorts of different, you just point a domain to it, and then you get your instance. You can make signups open or closed, so you can let other people join it, or you can lock it down just to invites only. And so then what that means from like the outside is if you're looking at everybody on Twitter posting where their new Mastodon account is, you're like, okay, cool. How do I pick an instance? And I think there's a website here to help you pick one, but I don't even think this is a good plan, because frankly, you should use a domain that is actually yours. These are all somebody else's domain names. And if you want to get into this level, that's fine. Start by picking a server that is that you trust will last a long time, because the person who's maintaining it has a plan for maintaining it indefinitely and isn't going to get overwhelmed by running an instance, which has happened, and they do shut down. Mastodon.technology is one of those, for example, where the person who maintains this one says, we're shutting it down, migrate your account because it's going away, right? And that will happen to a bunch of other instances as well. It turns out maintaining an instance isn't necessarily a fun job, dealing with the just server admin, much less the community admin aspect of it. So my point here is, anytime you're joining one of these, you're basically just like on somebody else's land, right? You're renting space from them and probably not even paying them. Sometimes they give you a way to like contribute to the cost of upkeep, but not a lot of them do. So you're renting space on somebody else's land, or just squatting on it. And that's not a particularly great place to be, in my opinion. So what can you do instead? Well, you can use your own domain name, your own website, to join this whole space. And that's exactly what I've done. Now, I've done it the most complicated way possible, and I do not recommend doing this unless you are in for a real project, but I will give you some other tips for how to do it. I'm going to drop the link to my Mastodon profile, in air quotes, into the chat. But here is what it looks like. This is my profile. It looks kind of like what you would expect to see on somebody's Mastodon server, right? Shows the number of followers, shows how many notes and photos you've posted, has a little bio, and then I've got a little explanation of what the heck this is. Now, this is aaronparecki.com. It's my main website where I post everything. And in fact, I literally don't care if Twitter goes away, because everything I've put on Twitter forever has actually been on my website first. I actually post first the note goes on my website. My website's like, oh, you also want to tweet that out. So I'm going to go use the API and go post it out to Twitter. So Twitter is just a copy of my website, and it has been since forever ago. So I don't care if Twitter goes away because because all the data is here, like the conversations on my website, and this actually links out to places other than Twitter. So micro.blog is another social network that also my content appears there, and then people who have an account there can comment on my posts. And the discussion comes back onto my website, and it aggregates everything. So you can see this is Keith who commented on Twitter. These are the some replies from people on Mastodon. These are replies from people on micro.blog, and they're all here on my site. So if any of these go away, I've still got it. And this is my own version of my internet, right? So apparently all of my last posts have been about Twitter melting down because that was all I could handle last week, because there was just so many meetings that I did not care to tweet about, and this was just a nice break from all that. So that was fun. Anyway, does that make sense? So, you know, my website's the canonical place to find everything about me online, including photos. Like you can see this, a lot of these things are things that are also on my Instagram account. But again, I treat my Instagram account as one other place you can find my content. So here's the picture of the Sony cameras I posted on Instagram. The little Instagram icon down here will link out to the Instagram version of the post. And obviously I don't put all of the photos I post on Instagram. My Instagram is a select subset of these photos, but these are some of the ones from the bike trip down to ResolveCon. There is the ResolveCon crew, the group photo. That one I think I put on Twitter, but not on Instagram. But it all comes back. It all lives on my website. So what happens if Twitter goes away? Well, I lose the Twitter copy of all of them. It would be sad, but not the end of the world. Let me see if there's any questions in here. You use the federated model for social media. That's a great way of thinking about it. Yeah, I treat the big social networks as just one other place that a conversation can happen. And same with Mastodon to Mastodon. Sven says, I like my local timeline, and of course that only works when I'm on an instance where others are. And I trust the admins of my instance to inform the users if they decide to shut down so I can move to another instance. The posts themselves are okay to manage for me. There we go. That's totally fine too. And for everybody, it's going to be different. Like I would be really sad if I lost all the posts. That's not necessarily true for everybody, but I really like having an archive of what I've done, where I've gone. I like having that. So that is all on my website. And it's not true for everybody, which is fine. And at least you can move your account between Mastodon instances. But yeah. Okay. So, James says that's exactly what I want. So let's talk about some options you can do for this. Grant says, currently on a Mastodon instance, and I've gone back and forth on moving to a single user instance I host, or doing something custom. It's difficult to build something like what you have. So let me run through some of the options here. Starting with the easier things, getting down to the more complicated ones. If you go to that link to my profile I dropped in the chat a second ago, scroll down a little bit to this how does this work section. This is my attempt at laying out some of the options in a quick list, ordered roughly by easy to hard. So, and none of these are all like alternatives to Mastodon. Obviously, if you're okay with Mastodon and all the caveats and conditions that come with it, then fine, do that. But if you don't want that, here are some of the other options. Micro.blog is an interesting option. This is a paid service. It's like $5 a month. It hosts your website, but you can use your own domain or subdomain for it. So this is not necessarily primarily a ActivityPub Mastodon compatible thing. It's a blog and a social network that you can join, But you can also join, you can follow people who are not on micro.blog a couple of different ways. And one of the nice things is that this is run by a very nice team down here. I've chatted with Manton a bunch about this, and he's come to several of the events I host around this space, and helps him with a lot of the integration of different protocols, talking to different websites. His goal is to run this as a small business where it's profitable enough to keep it going, and has no interest in scaling it up to millions of users where it becomes unmaintainable. It's just supposed to be a functional social network that you can support with $5 a month. He has also integrated support for a couple different ways of integrating with other services, one of which is the same system that Mastodon uses. So you can, in fact, talk to people on Mastodon from your micro.blog account, which is super cool. That is like, if you, that's probably the easiest way to get this going on your own domain, because basically what you do is you sign up for an account there. They have instructions for how to like go register a domain and configure it to point to that. And then they run everything. Like they run it as a service. So that's probably the easiest way to do it. And of course you can export everything if you want. You can export your blog, download local copies of it, all that kind of stuff. Their whole goal is being open about all the data and letting you really control your data. So that's definitely the easiest version. Next is, maybe I should swap these two. If you have a WordPress or a Drupal website already, there are actually plugins that you can install to make your website followable from Mastodon and other software. So there's a WordPress plugin and a Drupal plugin for that. And again, if you're running your own WordPress site, I don't think it'll work with WordPress.com unless you're on one of those higher paid tiers to install custom plugins. But if you're running your own on like DreamHost or something, or your own VPS, then you just go install the plugin and it should work. That's, again, nice because you don't have to build anything, and it'll, of course, take a little bit of work you have to be familiar with installing WordPress plugins and stuff, but that's a reasonably accessible option as well, especially if you already have your site in WordPress or Drupal. Then we get to some of the little bit more complicated ones. And the more complicated ones are going to be a lot more DIY. This option, BridgeFed, assumes that you have a website already. It can be any kind of website, including a static site. So if your blog is a Jekyll blog hosted on GitHub or whatever, you can work with that. And this is a little service that kind of manages all of the communications with the other network. And then you tell it where your blog is, where the feed is, and then you tell it when to go and send updates for your posts. So it definitely takes some more work to set up than any of the other options so far, because you have to, well, if you just go look at the instructions, you'll see what I mean. How do I set it up? You have to make sure that you're pointing to your feed in your HTML. You have to set up these things to redirect to this service so that it can serve the right magic documents. There are instructions for Apache or Nginx, but obviously this is now getting deeper into the weeds here of more DIY. So if you're comfortable with, writing HTML, using a static site generator, running some services on the side to maybe download images, or you can make little post requests to trigger things, this would work for you, and it's a great option for you. Then, similarly complicated to get going is an open source thing I actually wrote a couple years ago. I probably need to make some updates to it, but it should work. It is essentially a API-driven version of the thing that talks to all the different servers. It's not going to host your blog. It's basically an API. You can tell this thing, go deliver posts to my followers. This manages your followers. To use it, I have setup instructions here where, again, you kind of have to copy this file onto your actual website, and then you have to run this on a VPS. Again, not an easy option, but it's there. And if you're comfortable with running services to kind of cobble things together with services, that's another option as well. I put this one down here as well, which is self-hosting a whole instance of something. You could run your own Mastodon server. I probably don't recommend it just because it's pretty heavy-handed in terms of what it does, and it has a lot of features that are made for multi-user, so it's not necessarily the best option to just run as a one-person instance. There's two other options for just running things yourself: Write Freely and microblog.pub, not to be confused with micro.blog. And these are all linked from my profile here. I think those are also great options if you're, again, comfortable with the idea of running services, running stuff. So if you're used to, using Docker or spinning up a VPS to run software, take a look at those options. And then lastly, total DIY. This is not for the faint of heart. This is going to be the hardest option, and I will give you fair warning. The protocol activity pub is difficult and difficult to work with, not super well documented, and Mastodon does things that aren't in the protocol that you have to kind of just figure out. Not for the faint of heart, but the creator of Mastodon did actually write a good guide to get things going. And this gets you barely any of the way there, but this is a good way to start. And it talks about, you have to make this JSON document, you have to generate public keys, you have to send this message when you want to write a post, and here's the HTTP signature nightmare. It's if you're into that kind of thing, go for it. That is what I did, because I am into that kind of thing, and I'm interested in the specs that are underneath all this stuff more than just running somebody else's software. Not for everybody, for sure, but hopefully that link will get you going in the right direction. Eric says, Bridgie Fed reminds me of the old days with RSS and FeedBurner. Totally. It's definitely along those lines of trying to leverage the existing blog stuff of RSS feeds and things, and then sort of bring it into the Fediverse. Eric says, I know from having watched people set up Mastodon, you need storage, and then you get into egress fees. Yeah, it is not for the faint of heart either, running your own Mastodon, because again, it's meant for multi-user software that can scale to a lot of users. But there are some easier options than that, thankfully. Darren says, maybe the Twitter situation might influence other social media platforms to revisit and invest in RSS technology, something old is new again, like podcasts. Yeah, podcasts still are using RSS, well, RSS plus the podcast extensions that Apple made up, which is great. And I am really mad at Spotify for trying to kill that, for example. But hopefully this does make it so that it's possible for more services to not have to just to actually properly compete with Twitter, because there are protocols for this stuff. So hopefully that gives you some pointers. Emerald says the whole Mastodon story was more thought towards organizations running their own instances. I don't think that was the goal. I think it was meant for communities to run their own instances, which may be an organization, but may just be random internet community. Hearing some sounds. Oh, it must be my heater. It's really cold in here. So my heater is running. Yeah. So, okay. What else? What else did I want to... Any other questions about that? Hopefully that's gives you some like actual actionable things to do while Twitter is melting down, or just hold out for Twitter to recover. Who knows? Personally, I don't expect it to last forever in any case. I didn't expect it to last forever even before this whole week went down. So I've always planned on what happens when the big social networks go away and shut down and take all the data with them. And that's why I want everything on, I want my website to be the hub. Oh, and, oh, I should drop the link in the chat again, because there's now been some chat. So here's the link to my profile again. Thank you, James. That link is the link to this page where you can follow me, and you can also go down to this How Does This Work section and find these resources. And yeah, so I also want to bring this back into the YouTube world because I feel like there's a lot of parallels to how we treat YouTube. YouTube is a centralized service. It is run by Google. They have the authority to take down a channel whenever they want. They have no obligation to any particular person using the software because I'm not paying them. And they could just take my channel down for whatever reason that they feel like, or no reason. It's possible, right? And it does happen. Usually it's getting demonetized first or that kind of thing, which can be a deal breaker for a lot of people who are relying on the income. But it's kind of the same problem, right? Like if I'm going around telling people how to find me on YouTube, what happens if my YouTube account or YouTube itself disappears? That's a little bit scary to think about, but it might happen someday. Google does not have a good track record of keeping services around. I feel like YouTube is one of the very, very few exceptions, that and Gmail, but Google acquired YouTube at some point and managed to mostly not mess it up. And I think because YouTube operates as essentially its own company inside of Google in a way that a lot of other products don't. And yeah, I hope it sticks around, but again, it has a lot of the same problems, right? It's like, find me on YouTube. Well, if my account goes away for whatever reason, then where do you find me? And that is why I've been doing the exact same thing I do on my website for notes and photos and stuff, but also for videos. That's why I have the website aaronpk.tv. I have gone and done this differently. I made a separate website for this because I wanted to show more. I wanted this to more focus on my YouTube presence instead of more of my personal life. It's on my main website, but this is where you can find links to all my recent videos. I do send you out to YouTube to watch them because I want views on YouTube, because I do want them to, credit the watch, and I want the algorithm to know people are watching it and that kind of stuff. So, but I have downloaded a copy of all of my videos. Well, when I do these live streams, I don't record them here. Like I don't have anything recording this right now. It's just pushing to YouTube. So YouTube is the only copy of that, but later I go and I download it from YouTube and I store that on my drives. So I have a backup of all of my live streams forever. All of the videos that I post, the edited ones, I archive those before I upload them to YouTube. So I have copies of all those. So if I ever needed to, I could replace this link with a link to watch it on this website, just hosting the video myself. And at some point, I expect I will have to do that for whatever reason. This is also where you can find things like the stress test video clips, which is a very useful thing for your testing. But these links, which is, I'm not going to claim this is a great information architecture here. I'm going to work on that eventually, but a lot of these other things in here are like the Q&A. So this is, again, same idea. All of you chatting in here, asking questions, that's like super interesting content. I want to be able to find it again later. You can search through all the questions. When have I mentioned Twitter? Let's find out. Search for Twitter. Not when have I mentioned, when have you asked a question about Twitter? And then looks like not much, except this week and last week, and once in October 2021. Pat asked, thanks for the companion to Twitter method from the other day. And you can click on the timestamp and jump right to that spot in the video. You don't get this feature on YouTube. It's because I have it on my website. I like being able to do that. Same with the live stream chapters. I'm a little bit behind on these, but if you click on, yeah, these are all the chapters across all of my recent live streams. So here we go. So like from September 25th, here's all the different segments of that live stream. And again, I want to make it easier for you to be able to find the content that I've done in live streams in ways that you can't do on YouTube. I would actually love to be able to give this feedback to YouTube themselves and have them see what it would take to integrate some of these features into YouTube itself, but I don't think I'm quite have their ear for that kind of stuff yet. But same idea, right? So I want to have this website be the place that you know where to find me and my content about live streaming and video production, regardless of where I happen to be publishing the videos. For now, it's YouTube. Maybe I will have a separate account somewhere else later for whatever reason. You know, possibly members only content that is done outside of YouTube, because I don't want all of my eggs in the YouTube basket. But I've applied all the same principles of making sure that, you know, my website, that's my domain, is the place to find me. Whether we're talking about YouTube or streaming or streaming gear or just notes and stuff. So, okay. Let me look at the chat again because I just closed this tab. Oh, Graham, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for all the info. Not sure how much coding I feel like doing, so we'll stick with Mastodon.Scott for the moment. Nice. That's a great one. Cool. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, definitely stick with whatever's easiest for you, and totally fine. Lily says my Stream Deck is broken again. Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna have to fix this. We've got 38 minutes before her stream. We'll do that in a second. The Bread of Life says they'll never get rid of YouTube. It harvests too much user data for them to give it up. I mean, it's a huge ad platform, and that is what Google is good at, is being ads. Oh yes, Bailey, great example. Kevin, the Basic Filmmaker's channel got hacked and was taken down very quickly and took a few months to get it back. Exactly. So in the meantime, if that ever happens to me, you know where to find me, aaronpk.tv. Adam says, really smart strategy. Thank you. Okay. Let's take a look at Lily's Stream Deck. Already restarted it. I am going to go log in to it remotely. And let's see what happens. Oh, it's offline. So the Raspberry Pi must have... Oh, there it goes. Interesting. Does that mean it crashed? Let's look at the log. So that meant that it crashed and it just booted up. Let's see. Nothing showing up here. I might have to go look at the console and get a console up here really quick. Are the buttons up now that... okay, 10.200.2. So I'm in here. Where are the logs? Now I can't remember where the logs are on disk. But that's working. Let me pull up the multi-view, which I should have remote access to now. If I can remember the IP address for that little device. Nope, I can't remember it. I'm gonna write this down in my little notes. This has a stream key in it, so I can't show you that. But I should be able to find the IP on the network. On air doesn't work. Oh, you restarted it again. Great. Okay. Let's take a look. If Companion is up, let's take a look at the ATEM. So I'm going to go connect to that ATEM, which I think is 10.200.2. Nope. 10.200.1. There we go. Let's see if there's a stream key in here. Wish they would hide it. There is a stream key. Let's see if I can push on air. No. So it's not Companion's fault. It's the ATEM's fault, which means we have to restart the ATEM. So that's progress. The ATEM is not responding to the on-air button, which means maybe that's causing Companion to crash and taking down the buttons. That seems possible. So message to Lily, restart the ATEM. Power is under the desk at the front. Giant power brick. What I really should do is, again, get one of those smart switches for that room. I cut the entire power supply, which I think includes the ATEM. It should. No, it doesn't. That's the problem. That's why the companion restarted. The power brick for the ATEM is underneath the desk. It's not plugged into the main rack. So I need to fix this. I need to fix the power situation. I just buy another one of those 8-port network switches because that thing is great. I've got it here and it works really well, and I can power cycle individual outlets. So let's watch for, it looks like that did get restarted. So let's see if we can connect to it again. Still restarting. Yeah. This one's my 2ME and it's not connecting to the one at home. Just unplugged the big one. Cool. Not the one labeled HyperDeck, correct? Yeah. Oh, need one of the handy inline switches for the ATEM. I think there is one there, but it's like hard to get to because of the way the desk is set up. Brian says, let us support Aaron with a like. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up. Okay, let's see if the ATEM has come back. Not yet. Still not able to connect to it. That's not good. Okay. I want to pull up the multi-view on it, which I should be able to find the address of. I stuck a little H.264 encoder down there, and one of the HDMI outs goes into that. That way I can always pull up the multi-view. But I have to remember the IP address of that device, which I don't remember, and I'm going to write it down as soon as I get it. The small HDMI encoder, that looks like it's right. 10, 10, 10, 75. Let's take a look at what that is. Aha, that's the one. Is it just admin? Yes, it is. No signal. That's interesting. Is the ATEM still off? We should be able to grab somewhere in here. They have the RTMP URL. That's the one, RTSP. That's what I meant. So if I plug this into VLC. Okay, that's good. Progress. Now we can see what that device sees on its HDMI, which is apparently nothing. Let me take a look at the oh, I like Bailey's comment. What I do for tech support is have a crappy webcam set up so I can see my entire office that I can look into remotely, which is good. And I also have a camera in the office, which may be too far away to properly see what's going on, but maybe this is a good argument to have a camera that's closer. I see Lily there. And I see the ATEM is on. So I don't know why and the HDMI out from that goes into that encoder. So I don't know why there's no signal. Okay, well, we should be able to at least connect to the ATEM if it's on. So what's going on? If it's not on, maybe there's a network disconnection somewhere, because that should just be working. So let's go take a look at the network. This switch is the one that has the ATEM plugged into it. And it should, yeah, it found it. ATEM Mini Extreme is connected. So what's going on? What is wrong? Let's just restart the ATEM software control. Oh, that was it. Now it's connected. Okay, so I don't know why the remote view is not working, unfortunately. That's too bad. It worked last week, but let's at least try to see if the on-air button works. It does. So restarting the ATEM was all it took. Seriously, Blackmagic, I wish they would just star out the stream key on the interface for the ATEM, because then I can't, otherwise I can't show it otherwise. Okay, so that works. All the mess is Aaron stuff, yes. Don't show the mess, yeah. That is my messy home office. That's part of the migration strategy over here. Okay. Oh, I like how there's a cat helping with Lily's show. Does the button work? It looks like it works. Cool. Okay. Rebooting everything. We had some power outages at home again, apparently, and I think that throws things for a loop. Cool. So I do wish I could show that multi-view. Oh well. Yeah, just no signal. I'm gonna fix that when I get home. She was melting down when I kicked her out, she says. The cat is really, really wants attention right now. She cannot handle not having attention. I wish I could show you this situation with the cat. Oh, here we go. We can zoom in on that camera. The cat is just like, yes, I am the center of the universe. Okay, let's go back through the chats here. Oh, James, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Really appreciate both this video as well as all your work in the IndieWeb space. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you are curious more about the whole IndieWeb side of things, the IndieWeb.org is the main website for that. And there's all sorts of fun stuff on that site. There's a lot. And Bailey, thank you for the super chat. I understood basically nothing regarding Mastodon, but still good fun to listen to and watch the chat. Thanks for all the fun troubleshooting as usual. Well, hopefully you can, maybe you can go back and catch up on it again, or let me know if you have any questions and I'll answer them in the comments. Power outages are not good for networks. Oh, that's Alex from the meetup in London. It was great to meet you. Thanks for coming out to that. That was a lot of fun. I wish I could have planned a little bit more ahead for that, but this event that I was at is like, my schedule was just jam-packed, but I managed to set aside Monday night at the last minute, announced it Monday morning, had a meetup in London at a bar across the street from the hotel, and yeah, a bunch of people came out. It was really great. It was a lot of fun. So thanks for coming. And it was great to meet everybody. Jim says, question, would you have spent $44 billion to buy Twitter? Absolutely not. There are so many better things you can do with $44 billion. What is the remote RTMP multi-view device you're trying to use? It is a little H264 encoder. I think I got it from AliExpress. It's very similar to some of the other ones I've tried before. But here it is. I don't think, but it was surprisingly cheap. I wish I had an affiliate link for it, but it's on AliExpress. It is $72. And it looks like this. It's this little box. good size, nice and small, USB-C power, Ethernet in, HDMI on the other side, and the interface is not great, but it works. It's a little bit, it's one of those, it's kind of like the TBS encoder where it's like it can do 12 things, so it's confusing to use. But it has a lot of options, and all I really wanted it for was being able to get RTSP out. You can also push to YouTube if you want to use it for that, but I don't know why you would want to do that. But yeah, so that RTSP URL gives me this, which should be showing me what's on the HDMI port. I don't know why the HDMI port link broke. So that's it's just not getting the signal from the ATEM right now, but the encoder itself is working. So yeah, weird. Maybe Lily can fix it for me, actually. Should we ask her to fix it? Because I'm wondering if maybe unplugging the cable would make it renegotiate. Oh my god, the comedy of errors over there. Oh, Emerald says Tiny N doesn't do SRT, H265, but the V2 does. Oh, good to know. Yeah, I did not care about that when I bought it, so I just got the V1. But yeah, good tip to grab the V2 if you want H265, which that's a nice size for an encoder, actually. Did the cat decide to unplug things? Very possibly. Very possibly. Okay. Other questions? Oh, Lily says, do you want to review remoting in for donuts on my stream? Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to join her stream in a little bit to eat another donut. I got another savory donut, pesto soy curl chicken, fake chicken. I'm going to try that on her stream while she eats a donut at some point. And I'm going to try to guest in. So for that, I want to go to, I left a Magewell Pro Convert over there on that side. And let's find that link. I think I linked it down below already, actually. But this is the device. The Magewell Pro Convert NDI to HDMI. That is what's sitting plugged into the ATEM over there. So I should be able to push a feed to that she can pull up on her ATEM. To do that, I'm going to have to go to my other ATEM ISO here, which is not streaming to YouTube. This should be streaming to home. Yep, looks like it's already configured for that, which means as soon as I press on air, that should be pushing to the ATEM at home. And let's go get the sound configured right. 10.10 200.1. I left my headphones. Shoot. Audio from, oh, there's my audio coming in remote. So it's on audio follows video. So as soon as I show up on the screen, you'll be able to hear me. And then that's her microphone over there, which I think she has me on speakers. So it's, is that what's happening? Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Okay, so that should be set. And then let's see, she should have a button on the Stream Deck, which is pumpkin camera layout. Where is it? Oh, it was on the donut page. There we go. Lily, both, and me. So those buttons should still work. Again, I wish I could check the multi-view. She has me on headphones. Excellent. I should do that too. I'm going to ask her to restart or unplug the HDMI. So it is, how do I describe this? The HDMI cord plugged into the little converter. It's on the floor, connected to the, this is, my office over there is a mess. Connected to the Hollyland USB power cord with the light. Let's see if that works. And then now I can see if it's on the left side. Left side of the desk, not the right side of the desk. Down under there she goes. I'm gonna go grab my headphones while I do this too. And did that fix it? Did that fix it? Yeah, we don't have the back channel set up yet, but we're going to in a second. Still not working. Still no signal. Okay, well, so much for that. I just means I can't see her multi-view from here, but that's fine. Okay, well, we're getting down to the wire here. So let's get the back channel set up and then make sure this works. So, Zoom, probably easiest. New meeting. And invite link. Oh, she's FaceTiming me. But it's not coming to the right device. Let's see if this works. Aha!
Hello.
Hello. So much for Zoom. Hold on. I need to get my headphones back. There we go. Now I want to show you what's going on here. There we go. Wow, the headphones make it sound like you're like in the room. What are we doing? Cool. Back channel is working. So this is the back channel, and there's me. They can see, but they can't hear because I'm listening to you on the headphones. But what we should be able to do now is can I pull up, you're pushing to YouTube right now, right? So if I pull up your preview, but your ATEM is streaming. So I should be able to go and look at the preview on your YouTube account. Because I just want to be able to see when you do the split layout and stuff. I want to see it change. So that's the live button that I'm not going to touch, but we should see the preview here. There it goes. Oh, look at that. It's working. So she's got us in the split layout here. And if you go ahead and put me full screen, then go back to you full screen, just so we can see it change here on the screen. There we go. Cool. Okay, so we're all set for that. And we can... Yeah, so now that we're talking to each other on a live call, so I'm FaceTiming and we're chatting to each other in real time, which means the delay is... there is a delay of what's going to show up on that screen on YouTube, but at least we'll be talking to each other in sync, which was the problem last time of she had to wait 3 seconds to even hear me. So that's working. Great. Lily wants me to ask if anybody has experience with cats who are having trouble breathing because they're so stuffed up from a cold. Apparently, she's been really sniffly this morning. And do you think we should go to the vet now, or or is she just going to get better? Poor kitty has been really stuffed up this morning. And angry. And angry. James says, how is my feed getting into your ATEM? So I am streaming from this. So my web presenter down here is the one streaming to YouTube. That is another ATEM SDI ISO, which has a couple of feeds into it. But that one obviously can stream too. That is streaming over RTMP to the Magewell Pro Convert in Lily's studio. So that's how my feed is getting there. And then we're not doing the thing where she can't join my stream right now because I'm just going that direction only. But now I'm set up to be able to join her show. So, oh, the cat's getting kicked out. Look at the cat drama happening. Oh my gosh. Dora, be nice. Be nice. She's really curious about all the cameras. Look at that. Oh gosh, Dora. Oh my gosh, what a little trouble child. Oh, poor kitty. Okay. Getting kicked out of the office. I see. Oh, Bailey says my cat is the exact same thing. We didn't take ours to the vet, however, went away in about 1 to 2 hours. Yeah, hopefully she clears up. Charback says your setup is so advanced it looks like you live in a Black Mirror episode. That's accurate. Yeah, definitely a lot of stuff going on here. I'm going to rearrange this, so I think I'm going to turn this table that way and then make it so that the main shot goes into that corner, because I want this other corner for over here. I want this corner. Oh, this camera's not in focus. I want this corner for other projects. Newsfan77 says, is there VPN between your studio and Lily's? There is, and it's actually bi-directional, which is super cool. So I can go on either end, reach devices on both ends. And I tried to talk about it at some point in a recent stream and didn't get super far. I swear I'm going to do a proper write-up at the very least, if not a video about it. But we did talk about it a little bit recently. You should be able to search my timestamps for VPN to find that. Alex says, my sister has the same cat. They are cute. Yes, it is. Adam says, is it WireGuard? It is. It is WireGuard running on a Raspberry Pi 4. There's one at each end. So they are establishing the VPN link, and then the routers know how to route traffic for the opposite networks to the Raspberry Pi. So I can access everything over there on the 10.10 network, and this is the 10.11 network, and then both sides can see both address ranges. Luke says, is the multi-view going to detect in the tiny ink or via a splitter, so there's a local multi-view too? The way it actually is set up is there's a monitor. Well, there's two HDMI outs of the ATEM Extreme. One goes to a large monitor at her desk, and the other one goes to a small monitor on top of the ATEM. And let me see, I think I can show that in this very, very grainy picture of the camera there. So that monitor is what she's looking at. And then this one up here is, well, when I was running the stream locally, I would look at that monitor. There's an HDMI cable going out of there into the little encoder. And that, for some reason, that's the missing link, is this monitor is not, it's not recognizing the signal coming out of this monitor. I don't know why. Kind of weird. Because it was working fine when I first plugged it in, but yeah, I'll have to troubleshoot that when I get home. Has Dora eaten a little bluebird lately? Oh, Emerald Audiovisual says with the LinkPi Ink 1 V2, you have HDMI in and out. Yeah, so the way I'm doing that is the monitor that is showing the signal from the ATEM has an output on it. So that's how I get the extra HDMI. What's your bandwidth? Is it reliable? Is it in the same city on the same type of internet speed? Have you ever had to bond multiple carriers, except in the YOLO box hack, to increase reliability? Yeah, so we are both in Portland, and the different internet providers. This is CenturyLink in the studio here, and it's I forget some other local fiber provider over there. And what make and model routers are we using for both locations? Both are actually the UniFi system. I have UniFi at both ends, and I like them. They've been fine. It is a lot easier to use them compared to doing all of the routing config myself at the expense of I'm tied to their system, but I'm okay with that. Pramod says, I just saw your video. Don't buy a GoPro for live streaming. Is it applicable to the latest GoPro 11 as well? It is. It is. The GoPro 11 has a couple of notable improvements over the 10 in the action category, but has all the same problems of the 10 as far as the HDMI out and stuff like that. So great camera. I actually got one anyway because I wanted to try out the new stuff, but same problems with getting HDMI out, and pretty much have to use the custom, like the labs firmware to make it useful at all. And then you still have to get the large media mod, which is expensive and turns it into almost as big as a ZV-1 camera. So yeah, same problems. Is your setup ready to multicam live stream in 4K? Nope. All of my stuff is 1080. So the camera's a 4K, like I can record 4K, but the ATEM is not 4K, and even the Constellation for me that I'm getting is not 4K. I don't think I care to live stream in 4K. The only thing I care about doing in 4K is recorded videos, and even then I normally don't even publish them in 4K. I just record 4K content to be able to crop down without losing resolution. So yeah. Cool. Okay, we're just about out of time. Brian says a VPN video would be great. It's on my list. It's on my list. It's complicated. So Hans says, does the problem with Lily stuff mean that we don't have time to play with the bird dog today? Apparently that is the case. So next week we will play with it. Maybe I'll actually try a little bit out so I know what I'm talking about. No time left to play with the bird dog. Yeah, sorry. But we did troubleshoot some companion automations and mostly just restarted things. But hopefully you learned a little bit about remote connections because it's fun. Adam says, I currently run WireGuard on OpenWRT, but been playing with the Cloudflare. Would be interested in the future VPN related content. Cool. Yeah, I will do that. Yeah, GoPro Lab is like Adam's MixEffect, can't live without them. I agree. Cool. Okay, well, that was fun. That was a different episode today, but hopefully it was helpful. We will be back again next week with any luck. Don't see why not. And otherwise, we're going to go head over to Lily's stream. This stream should redirect immediately when I end it. And I'm going to go redirect over to her show. She's going to talk about the student loan forgiveness getting blocked and eat a donut. And I'm going to join for a little bit to try this ridiculous sounding donut. And the donut that I got with me here, a little sneak peek, is a really interesting sounding pesto donut. Where's my overhead? Pesto vegan chicken soy curl donut. So tune in to see how this tastes, and I will give an update on Lily's stream. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Let's roll the credits. say thanks to everybody for sending in super chats. Thanks for tuning in every week. We will see you again next time. Who knows? Maybe I'll have things rearranged in the studio again, or not. We'll see how it goes. I've got a whole backlog of stuff to rearrange on the shelves before you can see any of the changes. But otherwise, yeah, I will see you all again next time, and see you over on the Lily Show. Bye.